Welcome back to the ongoing study of Stewardship, the Basics. I am Pastor Wright, and we're still in session 2, and we're going to do questions 4, 5, and 6. So question number 4, we are to read St. John chapter 10, verses 12 through 14. And it says, "He who is a hired hand and not a shepherd, who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming, and leaves the sheep and flees. And the wolf snatches them and scatters them. He flees because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me." Okay, so that's going to be the basis of discussion of question 4. As you read this, how does Jesus highlight the difference between the shepherd, which would be the owner, and the hired hand, which would be the steward? So just think about that for a moment. You have Jesus saying that he is the good shepherd and the hired man flees and runs away. And we hear the owner of the sheep has a much greater interest in the sheep. The owner of the sheep is willing to die in the process of protecting what belongs to him. In this passage, Jesus is the owner of the sheep. These sheep have been given to him. It is his will that none of them be lost to the wolf. The hired hand, on the other hand, is only a worker. He does not have the same investment in the sheep as the owner. If the work doesn't demand his all, he is willing to give much less than the owner. When the heat is on, he withers. He is unwilling to give such a great price as to risk injury or even death for something that he does not own. So in there's a stark difference between owner and steward. We hear that Jesus is willing to give his life, and the steward is not. He is not willing to, he doesn't have the same investment, I like that word, as the owner. And so we see a faithless steward working for the owner, Jesus, especially in the care of his sheep. So that lays out a lot of what we need to consider, especially when we view Christ, but then as he models good stewardship. Because we hear that the sheep have been given to him. Who were they given to him by? But the Father. And what does he do? He lays down his life. He cares for them by paying the ultimate price, laying down his life for you and for me. Okay, so then question number 5, we have Psalm 24, which will be the basis for that. And Psalm 24 says, "The earth is the Lord's, and all the faithfulness thereof, the world and those who dwell therein. For he has founded it upon the seas, and established it upon the rivers. Who shall ascend the hills of the Lord, and who shall stand in his holy place? He who has clean hands and a pure heart, who does not lift up his soul to what is false, and does not swear deceitfully. He who receives blessing from the Lord, and righteousness from the God of his salvation. Such is the generation of those who seek him, who seek the face of God of Jacob. Lift up your heads, O gates, and be lifted up, O ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in." Who is this King of glory? The Lord, strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O gate, and lift them up, O ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory. Okay, again, that is Psalm 24. So then, question number 5. What belongs to the Lord? So another way to ask that is, what belongs to God? Or what doesn't belong to God? So the psalmist in the psalm says that the earth and the fullness thereof belongs to the Lord. This includes all who dwell in it. The Lord is the owner because he made it all. And that is a great reminder. So often we talk about what we have, what we own, what we earned, and all these great things. But we need to remember all of this comes from the good and gracious hand of our Lord. It has been placed into your care. It has been given to you. And so we need to remember where all our stuff comes from and where do we come from. And of course, this is God, our Lord, our Creator, our Redeemer, our Father in heaven. And then our last question for this little video, we need to remember Genesis chapter 1 and all the way to Genesis chapter 2, verse 4. And this is the creation of everything. So not only of the universe, but of earth, the fish, the birds, the creepy crawly things, man, everything. So just think about all that we know and remember of Genesis chapter 1 all the way into Genesis chapter 2, verse 4. So the question about that is, on the basis of what can God claim ownership of all things? Now, going back to the previous question, especially in Psalm 24, God made it. God created it. And he even said, it is good after every day, giving the stamp of approval, saying that it has come from my perfect will, and it will be perfect, and it is good. So God claims ownership by creation. He made it. One of the central teachings of the Bible is that God created everything. This is really important, because if God doesn't create everything, then how powerful, how strong is God? And the Bible even goes further and announces that God owns everything. The biblical teaching is not that God created everything and then handed ownership off to someone else. God still owns all that it is. Let that just sit for a moment. Because again, we just heard, I know for myself, I like to say I own, I have, I collect, but it is still God's. And let that again sit, that everything we have and everything that we are is from God. That is truly a humble and humbling statement. Well, I look forward to seeing you again for the next segment of Session 2. Thanks and blessings be upon you.